I wanted to talk about specific, just going back to the centre of the family courts, and one of the reasons that adoption became such a big issue. Adoption legislation has always run tandem and separately to children's legislation because, again, it was born out of institutions which were very, very different to the institutions established within child protection, and this is actually two separate strands of law that we've tried to keep tandem-ish over time, but which go out of sync. So when Gove decided that adoption was to be used as a political tool, which by the way is not lawful, because that came on the back of Tony Blair had actually seen adoption a little bit in that way. And what you see with adoption is often political impact around adoption legislation that you don't see around children's legislation, and they often mismatch. What's also become evident with the child abuse inquiry will probably rectify this. The principle of paramountcy, the welfare of children, must be the central point in decision making. That was likely to, through the process of reviewing the Children's Act, be expanded across institutions. And it's actually the natural review of the Children's Act which is due and which should come in the context of there's also been major dramatic revolutions in our family legislation around divorce. That's developing quite rapidly. We're actually reaching a point where we desperately need to synthesise all these different strands of legislation. We're being given crisis which will give us the opportunity to do so. And it would appear that the self-ID crisis, it appears to be organically pushing women to demand that safeguarding is recognised at a policy-making level. And it does actually, I know that I do this a lot and people go, how can you be... To me, that seems like it's a crisis progressing. There's a lot of institutional resilience there, including the fact that women did stand up and women do have a strong sense of these laws so that they can't be broken. And this crisis appears to be reaching a point where it will resolve itself. And all we really have to get through is the left stuff. But the big thing that we have to get through is that the cultures at the core of this, the policy making, the think tanks, the newspapers, the political parties, they are a class and they do not want to change. They have to. All this is going to happen whether they like it or not. But the crisis that we're actually in is the noise as they resist change. But it's actually just like the tide coming in and their feet are wet and they're complaining that their feet are wet. You just have to, you are the tide. Really, you're not going anywhere.